The only job I've ever done is speaking publicly. I was 15 years old, and the lady that did my file at Learning Support at school was on a course at the local university, and she said, they need someone to share their experiences at the end of the course, would you do it? And I said, no, that's not the sort of thing I'd do at all, it's much too terrifying. And she said, they'll pay you, and I said, when do they want me? And so I rocked up and I did it, and I read off this bit of paper, and I was shaking and I was terrified. And at the end of it, my mum stood up at the back, and there's only about 20 people in this tiny room, and she stood up at the back and she said, that talk has helped me to understand my little 5-year-old better than anything else I've read or been to or heard. And suddenly I realised there was something I could do that was unique to me, because only I could share my experiences, and that I could use some experiences that maybe had been challenging for me through education to try and help change the way that other autistic children were taught and treated at school. And that was really positive. And so it sort of started from there, and it grew. And now 15 years on, it's what I do all the time. It was gradual. I started my career in 2004, and I did one talk that year. And then in 2005 I did 2 talks, and it was from the same people that had booked me in the previous year. So word had got around locally, just in my little London borough. And then I was quite grand as a teenager, so I'd done 3 talks. So I decided I needed to email the National Autistic Society and tell them they needed me on their conference. And it was in the days when they did their international conference, and it used to be in Hammersmith at the Novotel. And I emailed them and said, you need to have me at once. And I heard nothing. And then they emailed me back about a week before the conference and said, are you still available? So I assume someone must have fallen out or dropped away or been unwell. And I said, I'll do it. And so the following week I turned up. As it turned out, Temple Grandin was in the front row of that workshop. I didn't know who she was at the time. It's lucky I didn't. And it was the first talk I'd ever done where I didn't read off a piece of paper. I just had bullet pointed notes, and it was terrifying. And it went down so well that off the back of it, people came up to me from the audience and said, will you come to Sheffield? Will you come to Manchester? And it just grew from there. But it probably took 4 years, I'd say, from when I first started to being able to call it my living and to be able to pay my bills and put food on the table and be comfortable. I had to really work. There were a few years where there wasn't much work at all, but it grew and grew, and it was gradual. It was sort of pre-Twitter. It's before Facebook got very big, so a lot of it was word of mouth, so it took more time then than it probably does now to get established in the field. And so I had to go out there and do tiny jobs in town halls and speak to 20 people above a church in St Albans, and not that St Albans is the middle of nowhere, but tiny little audiences all over the place. I had to put the hours in to build up the reputation, I suppose, and to prove to charities and organisations they should get me in. It probably took about 4 years. Advice I'd give people following in my footsteps is have belief that what you are sharing has huge value. There will be people out there that will try and make you work for free. Certainly if you're going to be speaking about being autistic publicly, there will be people that will try, early days, to get you to work for nothing. You have to remember that that audience is there to hear what you're saying, and therefore what you're saying is the entire value of the event. What you have to share is unique to you, it has huge value, others will get an awful lot from it. It is worth whatever you charge for it. Don't be frightened to charge. I get an awful lot of autistic people messaging me privately saying, I'm nervous to ask for money, I don't know how much to ask for. I would say contact someone who's doing a similar job to the one you want to do. Find out roughly how they go about it, how they go about charging, what their rules are. Do they have a structure? You know, very often people will be happy, if not to share the exact figures of what they earn, they'll be happy to sort of guide you in how to best look after yourself. But more than anything, to put a value on what you do, and have passion that what you're delivering has huge value. Never let anybody devalue that.